Ethan Cole was the kind of man the world forgot without realizing it. A man who could pass you in the street and leave no impression, except maybe the faint sense of a shadow slipping past, a quiet presence swallowed up by the noise of life. His small apartment was tucked in the back of a crumbling brick building on the edge of town, where the streetlights flickered like they were afraid of. The dark and the alley cats moved like they knew secrets about the night no human could guess. And for years, Ethan's life had been a repetition of the same faded days. Wake up, make coffee that tasted of burnt water, stare at the walls until work, shuffle through the aisles at the warehouse, where he was just another nameless face in a reflective vest, then come home to heat a frozen meal, eat it over the sink, and listen to the hum of his refrigerator until he fell asleep in the same chair. It was on one of those ordinary nights, in the cool stillness of early spring, that he first felt it, a small, hard lump beneath the skin of his upper back. Just to the right of his spine, a strange bump that seemed to have appeared overnight. Not painful at first, but foreign, alien. The kind of thing your fingers keep, going back to as if touching it will somehow explain it. He tried to twist in the bathroom mirror to see it, but could only catch a glimpse of a faint swelling beneath the skin. And though his first thought was that it might be a cyst or some harmless knot, there was something about it that made the air in the room feel heavier, a quiet warning that slithered into the back of his mind. And yet he told himself not to be dramatic, not to let his loneliness turn a minor bodily oddity into some great disaster. So he left it alone, telling himself it would go away. Days passed and the lump grew, subtle but undeniable, the skin around it warmer to the touch. And sometimes at night he thought he could feel it moving, not pulsing exactly, not like a heartbeat but shifting, like something inside was adjusting itself, settling in. He started wearing looser shirts, not that anyone noticed, because no one was close enough to see him without the fabric in between. And the isolation that had been his normal for years now began to feel sharper, more claustrophobic, like the lump had somehow made the walls of his life smaller. One evening, sitting at his kitchen table with the single dim bulb overhead, buzzing faintly, he reached back to scratch an itch near the swelling and froze. The skin felt stretched, tense, as if it were under pressure. And there was a heat there that had not been there before, almost feverish. That night, he dreamed he was walking down an endless hallway lined with doors, each one marked with a number he didn't recognize. And from somewhere far ahead came a wet, rhythmic sound, like something breathing in the dark. And when he reached out to open one of the doors, something inside his back gave a twitch so sharp it woke him with a gasp. 5 a.m, his shirt clung to his back with sweat, and he noticed the lump had changed, not just bigger, but alive, the way a bag might shift if there was something inside it. Fear began to erode the walls of his denial. And yet, in a strange way, there was also a pull, a grim curiosity that made him hesitate to see a doctor, as if he was afraid not of what they might find, but of what they might remove. Like losing it would be losing some part of him he didn't understand. Over the next week, the sensations grew, a faint vibration deep in the lump, like the hum of distant machinery, whispers of pressure radiating into his shoulder blade, moments where the world around him seemed sharper, colors more vivid, sounds more layered, as if the thing inside him was somehow tuning him to a different frequency. The loneliness that had weighed him down for years began to feel thinner, like someone or something was there with him, though when he turned around, he was always alone. Then, on the night that would change everything, a storm rolled in from the west, rattling his window with rain, and as lightning lit the room in staccato bursts, he felt the first sharp pain, sudden, electric enough to make him double over. Clutching the edge of his counter, the lump throbbed, the skin hot and tight, and with every pulse came a faint noise. Impossible but real, a wet clicking, almost like a muffled voice. And Ethan knew in that moment that something inside was ready to come out, that his back was no longer his alone. He staggered to the bathroom, gripped the sink, and turned so the mirror could catch the swollen shape, now visibly moving under his skin in slow, deliberate waves. And as thunder cracked overhead, the surface of his skin seemed to ripple, the center of the swelling growing redder until it looked ready to split. And a thought, not his own, whispered in his mind, "It's time." The isolation had all been part of a long, careful preparation for this moment, a signal planted inside him to awaken when the time was right. As he stepped forward, the world of his apartment, his empty nights, his small life all fell away, and in its place came a sensation of belonging so deep it made his chest ache. The last thing he heard before the tunnel closed was a voice, the same voice that had whispered, "It's time," now saying, "Welcome back, Ethan." And though no one in the world he left behind would ever know what became of him, his story would remain in the echoes of that rainy night, waiting for the next lonely soul to feel that strange, small lump. And if you, reader, felt your heart race at this tale, if you felt that same pull to know more, to walk further down the path of strange and impossible wonders, then you already know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, because somewhere in the stories yet to be told might be the one that's meant for you. The isolation had all been part of a long, careful preparation for this moment, a signal planted inside him to awaken when the time was right. As he stepped forward, the world of his apartment, his empty nights, his small life all fell away, and in its place came a sensation of belonging so deep it made his chest ache. The last thing he heard before the tunnel closed was a voice, the same voice that had whispered, "It's time," now saying, "Welcome back, Ethan." And though no one in the world he left behind would ever know what became of him, his story would remain in the echoes of that rainy night, waiting for the next lonely soul to feel that strange, small lump. And if you, reader, felt your heart race at this tale, if you felt that same pull to know more, to walk further down the path of strange and impossible wonders, then you already know what to do. Subscribe to the channel, because somewhere in the stories yet to be told might be the one that's meant for you.